update from the SIU on the preliminary report that took place, and the RAF was invited along with ourselves to appear on a set of issues that were raised in extensive correspondence. I must be upfront and indicate to you that an impasse arose because of that meeting, which resulted, amongst others, in correspondence where the board was indicating that it would not attend and that the CEO would not be in attendance. Lawyers were invoked, and after much toing and froing and engagements and correspondence, the board ultimately agreed that it would attend in the issues that they had raised about that meeting and its agenda thereof. I advised that those matters must be ventilated at the meeting as opposed to assuming that they can be dispensed with in correspondence and not appear before Parliament. I want to indicate, Chairperson, that for the ministry, it is a non-negotiable to appear before Parliament whenever we are called. It's a red line, and the refusal to do so by our side is viewed in a very dim light. And so the events that took place prior to that meeting, for whatever reason, are, as far as I'm concerned, totally unacceptable and should not have arisen. Be that as it may, last week, Wednesday, we did appear before Scopa. But shortly before that, I was advised by the board that it had taken a decision to place on special leave the CEO of the Road Accident Fund, Mr. Collins Letswalo, and that Mr. Patu Lukwarino would be appointed as acting CEO. This was not a punitive or a admission of guilt or a finding of guilt on the part of the board towards the CEO, but a reaction to events which would have led to non-attendance at that meeting. Now, I think it's now public record that that meeting took place and quite a number of issues were ventilated. And therefore, Chair, as you have indicated, it was deemed prudent that the Portfolio Committee, as the line function committee of Parliament for oversight for the Department of Transport and Entities, it should be appraised about the developments. And therefore, I thought I should start off with that briefing, that background, and indicate to yourselves, Chair, that as far as I'm concerned, the situation at RAF is absolutely concerning. And we, Chair, have not been briefed by the SIU as the department or the ministry. And I've engaged the head of the SIU, Advocate Mtibi, in this regard, that their processes must at some point or other take us into confidence about issues. And we have agreed that that briefing will take place. In conclusion, Chair, I have scheduled a meeting of the board as the delegated shareholder representative by the minister for the 10th of June to, amongst others, deal with all these issues and other related matters of the Road Accident Fund and see what possible actions should be taken and what interventions must be taken. The Road Accident Fund, Chair, will continue henceforth to receive the uncompromised and unwavering attention of the ministry until such time that all these matters have been resolved. I would therefore request, Chair, at this point, because I'm advised there's further developments at the Road Accident Fund, to hand over now to the Deputy Chairperson of the board, who is on screen, as you can see, to take us through the presentation, and then we will come in thereafter. Honorable Chairperson, I will end there and request the Deputy Chair of the board to now take us forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Deputy Minister. Thank you. Good morning to the Honorable Chair of the Parliamentary Committee on Transport. Also, good morning to the members of the Parliamentary Committee, the Deputy Chair of the Deputy Minister of the Department of Transport, the Acting DG, and the members of the Ministry. Also, good morning to the Board of the Road Accident Fund and its executives. I will then take the Portfolio Committee through to the presentation. We were asked to outline matters that unfolded specifically on the 28th of May at Scopa in terms of rule number 245 and the brief that we had there. So the first slide that you see is going to cover the key items, and there's a slide on each item. So the first item I'm going to cover is going to be the issue of the special leave granted to the CEO by the board, the issue of the Supreme Court of Appeal, ruling 02, April 2025, the application to leave for appeal, and that was a matter between RAF and AGSA and others. Then the issue around the investigation, acting chief information officer of Mr. Sefutle Modiba. Then there was an issue that we also ventilated at Scopa on advertisement of executive positions, default judgment statistics, then the chief governance officer matter versus the head of legal. I will also present on that. Malachi and Ponyana legal firm, there was a request that we share a slide that shows who is getting work and how many firms are actually accredited to do work for RAF. And this is where this matter was uplifted. Then the full schedule of the vetting timetable for the executives. And the last item that I'm going to be presenting on will be the call center contract. I will also appraise the PICOT in terms of the subsequent meetings that happened since we've been to Scopa. So the first slide talks to the first item. Following the Scopa meeting, the board held a special meeting on the 30th of May and on the 2nd of June, 2025, respectively, to reflect on the Scopa meeting. And for this reason, the board then took the following resolutions, which I'm going to share. The board resolved, based on one of the things that happened, is that we needed to then bring in legal opinion that the board was commissioned to bring on board and to make sure that the decisions we are taking are legally sound. So the board commissioned that independent legal opinion on the 2nd of June. And the resolution that was taken was that, number one, we need to rescind this resolution taken on the 27th of May to place the CEO on special leave because it was not legally sound. Number two is to withdraw the letter issued on the 27th of May, placing him on special leave. And in light of the above, the board went further to resolve that we must then come up with a legally sound decision. And that decision is to suspend the CEO for insubordination related to his refusal to appear before Scopa sitting scheduled for the 28th of May 2025. So that's now the updated version of the new resolution. The next item that we are going to share is the issue relating to the AG matter. The board resolved that its resolution taken on the 24th of April to appeal to the Constitutional Court to leave to appeal the High Court judgment on RAF versus AG and others following the Supreme Court of Appeal order dated 31st March to dismiss with cost in the RAF application for leave will be urgently discussed with the Deputy Minister of Transport, as the High Court has in its ruling classified the RAF as an insurer, and the classification therefore would have dire or adverse effect on liabilities of the entity. The board would, pursuant to the envisaged meeting with the Deputy Minister, reconvene with a view to reconsider its resolution to appeal the matter to the Concord. So that was the second resolution that the board made. The third matter is a matter that relates to Mr. Sefutla, the Acting Chief Investment Officer. The board recommended that the Acting Chief Investment Officer be placed on precautionary suspension with full pay and benefits with immediate effect. This decision arises from concerns regarding his previous employment at the city of Johannesburg and the other matters that are currently under investigation. This suspension does not constitute a disciplinary sanction, nor does it imply any adverse finding or assumptions of wrongdoing against him. Suffice it to say, we also got full access to the letter that the mayor of Johannesburg shared with SCOPA. So that's just, we've got additional information, and that's also part of why this resolution was taken. Next presentation. The board has also looked at some of the matters that to monitor. We have a REMCO, a Human Capital and Social Ethics Committee, which is part of the oversight role, which continues to monitor quarterly all the acting positions within the entity with a view to ensure that management through the people management department fills the acting positions. So the board took this resolution that REMCO must look at all acting positions and advise accordingly. And we've subsequently received more additional information on the acting positions of the entity. The next resolution that the board took was that the board resolves that the process of filling of all vacant executive management positions, namely the chief claims officer, the chief investment officer, the chief corporate support officer, including the head of legal, must be prioritized. Meanwhile, management was directed to appoint an acting officials in the positions of the chief claims officer in the interim while the CEO is under suspension, the chief investment officer, the head of legal, and the head of people's management. So those are the resolutions of the board. The next item is a matter that is concerning the chief governance officer. The board resolves that the process of filling the position of the head of legal should be expedited, as the filling of the position would ensure that the chief governance officer is provided with the required technical skill to support all legal matters at RAF. Thank you. The next slide. Then the next issue was an issue around the default judgment statistics. The board continues to monitor quarterly reports on statistical information of default judgments to ensure that the accurate and relevant information is reported by management. And we have a subcommittee of the board called Risk Management, Actuarial, and Legal. In short, we call it the Legal Committee. This committee has got the right expertise to exercise its oversight and to ensure that there's proper control in ensuring that the state attorney model is operating well to curb the unnecessary escalation of default judgments. Now, the report on statistical information on default judgments will be submitted to SCOPA by the 13th. The board has asked Regal to look at this matter in view of the new evidence that was presented to us, and with the statistical information, a full report concerning this particular item will then be shared with SCOPA by the 13th of June. But it's not a new matter to us. Our legal committee is the specific committee that looks at the state attorney model and specifically the statistics around default judgments. The next slide. Then there was an issue. SCOPA had asked us to share with them a list of lawyers to get to a sense of how many legal firms work at RAF and who's getting work and who's doing what, because we have two panels. We have a corporate panel. We have a panel that also looks at claimants. It then emerged that there was a firm, Malachi and Bonyana firms, which were highlighted as getting 83% of the work at RAF. So the board then took a resolution that the outcome of all court cases in which Malachi and Bonyana represented RAF should be presented to Regal, the same committee, and the board would like to determine whether the entities derive value for money that the legal services is currently offering to these firms. Further, management must provide explanatory reasons relating to the preferential treatment given specifically to these law firms, as it was clear that they were getting 83% of the over other firms on the corporate legal panel. So that report, we are also awaiting a full report, and Regal will present to the board, and it must also be, we must give SCOPA feedback on this particular item. Next item. Then there was an issue of the call center that was also highlighted. I just want to mention what the board is aware of. RAF participated.
Chair?
Yes.
DM through. I'm worried that you are now going to far outside our time that we had prescribed, and you have now piled a lot of issues which were not necessarily part of what would have wanted. I know it's important for you to brief us on these matters, but as you might be aware, the most important issue that we're concerned about at this point for this meeting, that's why we said this prescribed time, is the matter relating to your chief executive officer. So I'm going to ask that if when you continue, please make sure that you wrap up your issues.
Okay. Chairperson, this is the last slide. So I will just quickly I won't go through each point, but I think the point about this last slide was mainly around the call center contract. We wanted to highlight the process that was followed by RAF, that it's got an oversight committee called Operations Committee and Information. And this particular tender went through the proper tender procedures. It was a single source procurement, and National Treasury was sought for advice. And as such, the tender was scoped, and essentially it was awarded correctly. There was nothing untoward in terms of what was awarded. So that would be the last slide in terms of what we had prepared. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Deputy Chair. Honorable Chairperson, my understanding is that the board had wanted to place in context the full meeting of the appearance last week. I think if I may keep my camera off, Chair, I don't know if it's right.
It's fine, dear. It's fine.
All right, thank you. So that would be the presentation, Chair. I just want to confirm that late last night I was informed, as the Deputy Chair has now reported, that the board of RAF in its meeting last night had resolved to rescind the decision or the resolution to place the CEO on special leave and to invoke a suspension of the CEO in what was termed to me insubordination for refusal to attend the SCOPA meeting. I think, Chair, the board will have to take you through the series of events, and I think the question session will answer to this. Suffice it to say, in the meeting last week, quite a number of allegations were made around that which I would imagine would have led to this decision, including executives being directed not to attend the SCOPA meeting. So I would imagine that this decision last night seeks to regularize the process, and it would explain to me why then the CEO is now placed on suspension. So, Chair, that is the latest developments, and we will end there, Chairperson. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, DM, for weighing in. I think we must run it this way. Honorable members, I know I've been inundated calls by yourself on these matters. You wanted a bite or this to comment. Now this is the only opportunity for you to officially comment on this particular matter. I'm going to be generous enough to give each of you 3 to 4 minutes. 3 to 4 minutes for all of you, and then from there I'll come in. Can I see the hands? Honorable Ghana. Honorable Ghana, you'll come in. Then
my hand is up, Chair. I don't know if you can see it. Oh, thank you.
Who's that?
No, it was Honorable Chair. I was saying, I don't know if you can see my hand, but you've noted me.
Yeah, I've seen your hand. Honorable Namonde's iPad, if you can switch your mic off. Namonde's iPad, if you can switch your... Thank you. I'm trying to see if there is any other hand on the platform so that I don't leave anyone. Let's start with you, Honorable Ghana.
Sorry,
Okay.
Chair, there are hands on the platform.
Yeah, I see them now.
Okay.
You had decided not to raise your hands. Let's start with, okay, in that order. Let's start with you, Honorable Blosser, then followed by Ghana, then Honorable Montana. Honorable Blosser?
No, thanks, Chair. Chair, I really don't appreciate what has happened here today. To put it bluntly, we are being taken for a ride here. And the entire entity of RAF has been put at jeopardy. It's been put at disrepute by a board that doesn't seem to know what it's doing. Acting chair of the board, you guys do not know what you are doing with this entity. And I don't understand why we shouldn't actually even call for your own dissolution. Now, you go and put the CEO of the entity on special leave illegally so, and you'll put the entire entity in the media. It's just a mess that has been happening. What you guys have done was illegal. Your legal opinion has told you that last night. You are coming back now. You are telling us that you have suspended the guy for refusing to attend the SCOPA meeting, which is a lie. Chairperson, acting chair. And your chairperson is not here. There's not even a reason why the chairperson is not here. You didn't even inform us about that. So it's unfortunate, Chair, that we only have 3 minutes to articulate issues. But I thought I should put this firmly, that the board does not seem to know what they're doing here. Now, how do you suspend the CEO now, acting chair? This is my question now. How do you go and suspend the CEO for refusing to attend the SCOPA meeting when he was with you in Cape Town? Do you not know that? Because we are of the understanding that the CEO was in Cape Town to attend the very same meeting that you are now suspending him on. Do you not know that? You, acting chair, as the board, did you not write to SCOPA and inform SCOPA of a board decision to not attend the SCOPA meeting because of various issues that you would have ventilated there? When then did you sit a meeting to rescind the decision? Because now it seems as if the problem of not or this back and forth between you and SCOPA is now placed solely on the head of the CEO. Did the board not go and take a board decision not to attend the SCOPA meeting? And when did you rescind the decision? So if you are going to suspend the CEO, why are you not suspending yourselves? Because yourselves, you didn't want to attend that meeting for various reasons. Because you told there in that meeting, you also told the chairperson of SCOPA that SIU has not briefed you on this issue. So you do not know why you feel you need to attend the SCOPA meeting on issues that you are not aware of. Because you felt very strong that you needed to be briefed on the SIU issues. So when did you rescind that decision? Chair, I want you to tell me, because everything you are telling us is a sideshow here. You are creating a smoke screen so that we divert from the real issues. Now you are suspending the CEO because it seems as if you are tailing a particular case against the CEO, and I don't understand why. I want you to tell me now, does the board have a decision regarding the reappointment of the CEO? Do you have a legal opinion on the reappointment of the CEO? And when the deputy minister wrote to you and said you must advertise the position of the CEO so that the current CEO can also apply, what did you respond and say to the deputy minister? And has that decision changed? I don't want you to create a smoke screen for me. I hope you are noting my questions because they are very specific. And when you respond, you must respond to them within the given time that we have here. And maybe, Chair,
Yeah, as you sum up.
It's fine, Chair. Let me leave it at that with those questions because we don't have time. But I would like to also, maybe if we've got time at the end, I've got 3 more questions that I would like you to pose to the acting chairperson. Thank you, Chair.
Suppose we still have 30 seconds to go.
Yes. So, Chair, I'd asked about the legal opinion of the reappointment. Now, CEO, I don't know. It seems as if there's not CEO, the acting chairperson. It looks as if you are acting out of pressure. Everything you are doing, it seems as if there are external forces that are commanding you to do things. You had a standing board resolution regarding the AG matter versus RAF. Now, all of a sudden, you seem to be wanting to rescind your own decisions. It seems as if there's someone who's speaking on your ear, and everything that you had resolved on as a board, you are now rescinding all those decisions. What is informing now this decision that you now want to go and review this matter of the AG? Because you felt very strong as the board that you needed to go and support the Road Accident Fund in challenging this issue of the accounting policy of the Road Accident Fund. So now do you no longer feel that RAF must be accounted in terms of not as an insurer? Do you want to rescind that board decision? I want you to give me clarity.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Honorable Ghana.
Chair, thanks very much. So when we asked for this, we thought that it's going to be a short briefing. But what it has since emerged, it's a significant issue that should worry us all. In terms of, as Bloss has said, in terms of how the board is acting and behaving around this particular matter. In a way, I believe, Chair, that the board might very well be acting in a way that will make its resolutions to be found to be not legal, all of them, because my sense and my reading is that even the advice that the board got last week, it's very suspect. The advice that the board yesterday, it has me worried, Chair. So we have got a short time.
Ghana, you're protected. Ne? There's someone who speaks when Ghana is speaking. Please, let's make sure that all of us on the platform, we have muted our mics. Ghana?
All right. Thanks, Chair. Can you hear me clear now?
Yeah, you are clear, my brother.
Yeah, I was saying, Chair, appreciating that we have this meeting now. But what is clear is that we need a longer conversation around RAF. We cannot pass the buck to SCOPA as a portfolio committee. We need to do our part on RAF. And what has come out, just the few slides that have been shared, has got me very worried. And it might very well be that the board itself is very suspect. And I feel that there might very well be elements that might seek to retain the CEO in this position, as there will be court cases relating, one, to the him being placed on leave, and two, being suspended. Because if I hear correctly, he's being suspended for not attending SCOPA, and that is the only basis for the suspension. That is very suspect, Chair. I think we need a longer meeting, and I will propose that in the next 7 days we have a full-on meeting on RAF, even as a special meeting, even if we can have it after the sitting. But we cannot continue in this way, that we are being fed information that's not. It's very suspect, Chair. We need to do our part on this entity. I will pause here for now, Chair.
Thanks for that, Honorable Ghana, and thanks for coming in. And I would urge also members that if you ask questions, but also as you input, you must also be inputting, suggesting the way forward. Thanks for that, Honorable Ghana. In that order, the next person, it will be Mukoni. Mukoni.
Thobela Mogalaboeshu. Good morning. colleagues, honorable members. Good morning, Honorable Deputy Minister. And once again, condolences to the party and the family, Yakajobe. And of course, to the chair, to the deputy chair of RAF, as well as the colleagues from both RAF and the DOT. Chair, I think let me start in this way. You know, I would have loved that we have RAF here discussing the real issues, the real business of the Road Accident Fund, discussing issues about claims, discussing issues about the turnaround times for each claim, discussing the issues about administrative costs, and most importantly, discussing issues about the legal cost, because we know historically a big industry has developed around the Road Accident Fund. It's feeding on it, and I think that like both as the two colleagues have said, Blose and Ghana, that we're now focusing on completely different issues. I mean, when we were at the RAF in October last year, we had the chairperson of the board, as well as the management briefing us on some of the work that has been done. And I'm quite surprised that suddenly we talk about two law firms, when in fact the take, I mean, I'll tell you that this corporate legal fees of 103 million, and I think it's actually so insane. It tells me that we are dealing with people who don't even understand business. You are chasing lizards. The bigger cost that has to do with this, with the very real business, the actual business of the Road Accident Fund, and you are focusing on the corporate legal cost as a small issue. And I think the board will find itself in a very difficult position. And when you go, so I want to support Ghana's thing that we actually within 7 days we have a much more detailed engagement with the RAF and the deputy minister to discuss some of the issues that are there. That's the first issue I want to raise. Secondly, Chair, I think that there may have been issues, but the board has clearly told us in our oversight visit that it is part of the very decisions that it wants to review today. And I think that we can go systematically and look at the issues that are there. I've asked our team to give me an actual recording of our visit there and hear what the board has said, the very decisions that they're trying to review. You know, when you suspend, when you place a CEO or you suspend a CEO, it's not a small matter. It actually takes a particular process. Now, I haven't heard the deputy chair detailing that process. It seems that there have been issues which we may not be privy to, but it took just almost 16 hours of, for lack of a better word, of madness for major decisions to be made. Historically, RAF has been very unstable. What this board has done, Chair, it has actually returned the Road Accident Fund to the period of instability, destabilize the organizations. And I'm surprised that within a very short period of time, you know, decisions in companies, whether private or state-owned enterprises, are not made in that hasty way. Even when the board can't even, for example, go into an in-committee meeting and just make decisions. You need very credible for it to be rational, for it to be well considered. And I can see from the presentation, like Honorable Ghana has said, quite a lot of issues are being reviewed at a short period of time. Why are we here, Chair? And I'll indicate. Now, first issue is that Honorable Blose indicated that the board had taken a decision not to go because of the way in which Scopa treated them. That's the first issue. And then this was followed by letters going up and down. And then, of course, the deputy minister entered the fray. I think that he was right insofar as he said that you know, appearing before Parliament, oversight, is something that is non-negotiable. That I think that it was a right position. Okay. However, in his own letter, I think that the deputy minister himself is making, in his letter to the to the chair of the board, his letter is actually starting to pose even quite a lot of insinuations about accountability, no exceptions, and I think that it's not consistent with what both the deputy minister and the board is telling us, that there's no wrongdoing and all of those things, and suddenly you want to elevate that we're withdrawing within 24 hours. You're withdrawing your leave. You are now placing it as a suspension. Chair, I think that this board has made decisions and is making decisions in the last few weeks, in the last week or few days, without proper consideration of the matters, even on matters where they were involved. I think that my view is that depending on what we are going to get within the meeting that Honorable Ghana spoke about, I'm starting to evolve towards a situation where we should actually call for a vote of no confidence in this board in its entirety. Because I think that if you run a business in that way, it tells me that we have men and women who actually do not understand the very mandate of RAF and what it should be doing. The fact that they are prepared just because the standing committee had asked some difficult questions to go and review even their own model. You don't do that in the middle of, for example, of a financial year. You know, this issue about accounting treatment is a major issue for the RAF and its sustainability. You just have to go through the different commissions, and those of us who have been
As you wrap up, Montana.
Thank you. Those of us who have been in this field, we know, for example, that the issue of the sustainability of the road accident fund has got its own implications, and it requires that we revisit even some of the assumptions that we've made. So, Chair, I'm saying that from where I sit, and I've discussed with my colleagues who sit in the standing committee on the MK side, I think that our position is very clear. One, we think that this board should go, and we're calling on the minister and the deputy minister. This board should go, actually, it will plunge. And I think some of us in the next meeting within 7 days, we want to demonstrate that. Secondly, we are suggesting that, in fact, I think that Mr. Letwalo is within his rights to exercise his legal rights. But thirdly, we are saying leave the suspension. There's no basis for it. In fact, today we haven't been given sound reasons why Mr. Letwalo is being suspended. The board does not follow the process. And I think within 7 days, they must give us the actual resolutions per meeting that they've had. What were the meetings underpinning that? And we want each member of the board to be present, Chair. I would love it if it's a physical meeting. They've had a meeting with SCOPA. SCOPA exercises its responsibilities. We ought to be doing the same as this portfolio committee. Deputy Minister, I urge you, if we allow the board to make quick decisions about the model that RAF is going to follow, this entity is going to collapse within 12 months. And I think that we've been placed in that situation. And I think the ministry and this board should take full responsibility for plunging us into a path where we'll not be able to meet the requirements. So I'll leave it at that for now. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Thanks very much. Can I have Honorable Kubega coming in? Honorable Mabena, get ready.
Thank you, Chair, and greetings to the House, greetings to honorable members, greetings to the Deputy Minister, and greetings to the team at RAF. Chair, the acting chair of RAF, simply put, I'm not sure if she understands Zulu. I'm not. I think the English is escaping me. But Chair, I sit at SCOPA as well. So when the when the RAF board came to Scopa, they had said with the deputy minister that the board and the deputy minister were saying that the CEO is not guilty of anything. And then, but still, after that, they still put him on special leave. So basically, what they had to do is they had to go and find something that they were going to try to make stick onto the CEO for them to suspend him. And now, whatever it is that they found, in this case, insubordination for refusing to attend Scopa, that too is not true. That's a lie. Chair, I want to ask the chairperson, was it not a decision of the board that RAF must not come to Scopa because they had not been briefed by the SIU on issues that pertain to them? Now, after many deliberations that they had, they finally decided, okay, sharp, they're coming to Scopa. And now they're saying he refused to appear when we know, and in that Scopa sitting, the acting CEO said that he was on the same flight as the CEO coming to Cape Town to present. The person who actually presented on behalf of the CEO, the acting CEO, said he was told the morning of the briefing presenting. Hence, even himself, he was not entirely prepared for what happened at Scopa. So, Chair, I think the long and short of it, Honorable Blose and Honorable Montana have summarized this thing up succinctly. The board that we're dealing with here is clearly incompetent. They clearly have handlers who are handling them. They are grappling at straws. Everything is in disarray. And they are messing up that entity properly. They are messing that entity up properly. Now, if they're going to say that insubordination for refusing to attend a Scopa meeting, how are they going to substantiate that? Because we all know that it's a lie. So, Chair, I think we as the Portfolio Committee of Transport need to raise it up with the Deputy Minister. We need to raise it up with the Minister to have a look at this board and call for its dissolution, because these people have no idea what they're doing. They are running around like headless chicken. They just don't know what they're doing, and they're messing up that whole entity called RAF, and they are plunging it into even more problems than it has right now. So, Chair, I think that's there's only one question that I want to know: that was it not the decision of the board that RAF does not attend Scopa? I would like the acting chair to answer that one. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Kosi?
Thank you very much, Chair. Thank you for recognizing the Nedbank Cup Champions 2025. I think there's also maybe one or more issues here. Maybe the colleagues can assist. I'm made to understand that there was late last night, there was a board meeting, and that the chairperson was there in that board, was cheering, but also present in that meeting. And I stand to be corrected. I think the opening remarks of Tamashasha, again, I say I stand corrected, insinuated that he also attended that meeting. And also earlier on...
No, I didn't. I was not in that board meeting.
No, thank you very much. Hence I said I stand corrected. But earlier on, the person who had to look for the RAF people indicated that they were in a meeting late last night, including the acting chairperson, but then the acting chairperson is here, but then the actual board chairperson is not here. I think what we might be having is a situation where there's actually no coherence within the board. Other people are pulling on this side, other people are pulling on the other direction. And I think maybe because of you've given us strict speaking times of 3 minutes, I would say Honorable Ghana has, I agree, maybe just to second his suggestion that perhaps we have another meeting where perhaps we can just correctly ventilate the issues with the full board being present, represented by its chairperson, so that we can just go through, take stock of everything else. But also another thing that maybe we must also dispel here is this a suggestion that seeks to say that everything is hunky dory and it's working perfectly at RAF with the current leadership and even with the current board, which is not the case. So I think perhaps we can have a meeting where we can take full stop and get appraised and be given also a sequence of events and decisions, just like the acting chairperson has attempted to do this morning with her presentation, but perhaps with a situation where we can ask more pointed questions and have some sort of more speaking time. Because also in the presentation, she notes that there's a number of reports which are still outstanding and also still needs to serve before their legal committee. So perhaps when we schedule this meeting, Chair, I would implore that can we liaise with them to say that we schedule the meeting after I think there was about 2 reports that the board has requested that the RAF has to prepare and must serve before the recall, and that when those reports serve before the recall, they also be shared with this portfolio committee towards as the reporting line in terms of executive oversight or legislative oversight, that they share that with us, so that when we speak to them, we speak with having full information. Because I am afraid to say that we push for that meeting and the tight deadline of 7 days. 7 days comes here, the board sends almost the same report. The difference is that they've got a full delegation, and that report or those 2 reports that the board has requested been served before the board. So then we run the risk of them saying, look, pending the outcome of the reports, and once we receive the reports, we will either write to you, give you written responses, or we'll come back. So our scheduling team, maybe through the secretariat and through your leadership, Chair, can we just maybe ensure that maybe we meet with them after those 2 reports have served before them? Thanks, Chair.
Thanks very much, Honorable Mabena. Thanks very much, Honorable Mabena. If Honorable Nkompane can come in.
Thank you, comrade. Thank you, Honorable Chair. Good morning to you, the honorable members of the committee, DM, and the technical team that is supporting us. Honorable Chair, my colleagues have covered me in many aspects. What I'm worried about is the concerns that the families have out there, that is the number of outstanding claims, the claimants, the dependents that are worried out there. As you know, Chair, that we have only received this information about the suspension through the media. So it shows there is a gap somewhere that needs to be attended to, and my colleagues have covered me a great deal. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks, Honorable Nkompane. Honorable Malmach.
No, thanks, Chair. Let me take this opportunity and follow suit. Due to time, allow me to greet everybody without saying this portfolio. Chair, in many cases, if one allows his or her feelings to overtake his or a consciousness, you end up taking decisions that you every hour had to change it. I'm saying this because the reason to now two things: to put the CEO on leave, suspend him of yesterday, are not far from what the board can do to the chairperson. We are told that he refused to go to Scopa. The chairperson, the reason that is not here is because you finished late around 11. And others managed to wake up and come in. The chairperson refused to come here. Why can't that chairperson be suspended? Because you will be fair that if you are called, you are not going to account, then it's a, it's a serious matter. In this case, the chairperson is not suspended. Instead, we are here. The person who wants to cover the chairperson because there's no valid reason. You finished late. Why didn't you wake that particular person to come here so that we talk this matter? You know, to be appointed as a board, we are serving at our mercy, and whoever appoint, including the minister. But to plunge everybody into a serious mess as it's happening now, it makes all of us look like stupid. And we don't want to come there. We don't want to come there. So where one is a chair, part of them coming to the meeting that is proposed, which I fully agree, must be ready to answer why we must not dissolve them. Simple as that, why we must not dissolve them. Because here, we're talking about patience. This entity is different from other entities that maybe can be in agriculture. We are talking about plowing a vegetable. Here we are talking about sick people who are dying on a daily basis. We're talking about families who are waiting for these monies to come and assist those they cannot take care of. This person was not born crippled, it's not a disabled, it's now on a wheelchair, it's waiting for the money to come so that they can build a ramp. I'm just giving a classical example so you understand that you are given a very serious task. Instead, you come here, you want to be talking to us about how you hate each other to an extent that you can floor the procedure of suspending, putting each other on leave. And you think that this matter is between us and you. No, it's all over South Africa. We know everything. All these members who spoke here, it's not to say maybe they got it by whispered somewhere. No. We watch televisions. The very same CEO went on public domain and spoke on the television. Yourself, you are doing the same. And we are telling you that, no, actually you flawed the whole thing. So, Chairperson, I want to agree with those that are calling for an urgent meeting. And that particular meeting, on my side, it must come with the chair, who I will think he must be suspended by that time. And the board telling us why we must not dissolve them. Because they are not necessarily carrying the mandate of what they're supposed to be doing. Because they are flopping Monday to Friday, day and night. So, Chair, we are not happy. And we find ourselves speechless talking to people that we thought they understand their role, yet they are just taking us for a ride. Thank you so much.
The last end I'm seeing is Honorable Kobe. Honorable Kobe. That's
Thank you, Chair. Good morning to you, the honourable members, to the DM, and my sincere condolences to him and the IFP. And also just, I'm thankful that the board is here and has come to the portfolio committee. Chair, I think just as a matter of progress, I think even the meeting that we are calling for, because I think the board is acting here in some sort of vacuum or in silo, because just hours before the meeting in RAF, it's alleged that the CEO was placed on special leave just before the meeting. And because he was placed on special leave, for us that looks as though that this was an attempt to shield him from parliamentary scrutiny. So when we do again bring RAF board to come, I suggest, Chair, that the CEO also makes an appearance although he's placed on special leave, or as the CEO says, as the acting chair has said, they've rescinded that and actually placed him on suspension, that we don't have a gap where there's a he say, she says, chair. I think it is very important that in a conversation that we are having, to unveil the truth and to hold them accountable, whether we are holding the CEO or the entire board accountable, they must all be present at the meeting. It cannot be that we continue to have a conversation as a parliamentary committee, and then we have a side conversation with the media, and then there's also another side show that's going on with Scopa. It cannot be. I think we need to have a clear understanding, and the only way that we can achieve this, I think, it's in a conversation where the board is called to account, so is the CEO, so that the events are not he say, she said, or someone called me on the side. It must just be laid bare so that South Africans understand through this mechanism that we are using for accountability that they all show up. Thanks, Chair. That's my contribution.
Thanks very much. I would imagine that was the last hand. I have not seen Honorable Matuna, and I have not seen the hand of Honorable Van Staden. So I would assume I'm correct to say this is the last hand. DM, you would have had, together with the acting chair, the serious concern of the members, which is equally my concern. I share much into their sentiment as the chair of this portfolio. One, that we met the Road Accident Fund, as Honorable Montana has alluded, last year in October. And we're given a picture of entity that is probably doing well, according to what the chair would have said at the time. But what concerns me is that some of the issues that are now raised, which of course indeed perhaps they warrant enough time for us to deal with them, are some of the issues that would have came strong on. For instance, I remember asking them, or asking you, acting chair, if you were there, but I know the chairperson was there at the time. What is the issue between yourselves and the AGSA, Auditor General South Africa? And we raised on behalf of the portfolio our concern on your ongoing spat between yourself and the AGSA. And you assured us that the matter is within your control and the matter is receiving a proper attention. You assured us almost all the things that you are raising. For instance, the issue of the companies you are raising now, which then request us indeed to put a closer eye on the developments. In the presentation you made there on that particular day, you said to us the only companies that are actually benefiting a huge sum are what you called the top tier companies. I don't know if I'm trying to remember the phrase. You said these are the only companies that are enjoying a lot of work and they are taking a lot of money from RAF. Now, there's a lot of inconsistencies in what you are telling us, which really creates a problem for us. It creates a problem for us in this way, TM. It creates a problem for us in as far as the board is concerned, because if we were to take an interview yesterday, we'd have taken an interview on the account that the RAF CEO, the RAF board CEO, or the RAF CEO is on special leave. When we woke up, we'll have to now communicate again ourselves that no, it is no longer a special leave. It is what do you call it now? A suspension. And if we are to say, yeah, this is the suspension now, but what gives a problem for us? And I think, I don't know who's this honorable member who said this. I think it's both Honorable Ghana and Honorable Kobe now. That I don't know whether you are shielding the CEO from appearing before us or you are fermenting a case against him. Whatever way, something in between that, because you say to this committee now that the reason you have suspended him is because he refused to appear before the committee. But you said in the Scopa committee that you have not suspended him, you have put him on leave. You have put him on special leave, not to preempt guilty or whatever you would have said. Now, in my head, I'm asking myself, are you not, if indeed there is something wrong that the CEO has done, are you not creating a administrative loophole in your processes so that they can run away with the matter if indeed he has done wrong? Or if he has not done wrong, are you not actually standing to actually create a case that is not there? Because it is, this thing now is between these two lines. It's either you are shielding him and giving him a free leave to go if he has done anything wrong, or you are deliberately wanting to create a case against him. It doesn't lie anywhere between the two, because if you say, no, we have given him a leave, then you are saying you are charging him with insubordination for refusing to appear scope. If he comes and say, no, I did not appear because I was on leave or something like that, and you say, no, it is confirmed that, as he also alleges in the media platform, that he was actually on the way to Cape Town to attend Scopa when he was actually put on suspension. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that I agree that perhaps maybe you may have to answer this question. How does your process flow goes if you are to suspend a person, and what is prescribed in terms of your law for suspension of a person, not even a CEO? If you are to suspend a group governance officer, a risk officer, what is the internal process, especially those that must be suspended or those that report directly or appointed directly by the board? Because hey, you have. I thought I understood the case. I thought you are coming here to brief us how your special leave works and how you are intending to process this thing. Now you've just dropped a bombshell, which now makes me to think along what Honorable Kobe and Honorable Ghana and other honorable members would have said, that it's either you are shielding or it's either you are creating a case deliberately. But it's true. The other cause for concern is this absence of the chair. It's a serious cause for concern, which in terms of what Honorable, I think it's Honorable Mabena says, it may start to send a message that we may have to probe whether there is consistency and coherence in this particular board, DM. But we leave it up to you now to answer, and then we'll then come in and provide what we think should be the way forward, so that we don't dwell much on issues, but it is clear that there is a lot that we have to get from yourselves.
Chair, thank you very much. Chair, let me start off here. The letter that Honorable Montana refers to, I was copied in a letter from the board to the chairperson of SCOPA, because I think it's important that this context is understood. The SCOPA meeting was SCOPA's follow-up on the basis of an SIU presentation made to them. So it was a follow-up on investigations. And that is precisely why then I make reference in my letter to the chair of RAF, that when so much is wrong in the country, we cannot be seen to be avoiding accountability. That's point number one. Secondly, the laundry list of issues that the board raises in their letter, I indicated to the board that go and ventilate those issues at the SCOPA meeting so that Parliament can have a holistic or global outlook of the set of circumstances around these investigations. I have not been briefed by the SIU, but when the SCOPA invitation came, just like as this invitation came, I complied. And that is why I say to the letter that RAF is directed to attend the meeting of SCOPA. So I think that the context of my correspondence in this regard is very important, so that it is not interpreted any other way, in that there had been a lot of toing and froing, of course, including people invoking personal lawyers in this matter. I would want to leave that there and say that if any parliamentary committee, well within its rights, in the exercise of its constitutional responsibilities and obligations, wants to engage with any of our entities, I will not accept a situation where that entity will not want to subject themselves to that process, for whatever reason. Because once we start nitpicking and cherry picking, we're setting precedents which will be problematic in future. The second point, Chair, is around, Honorable Mtoya says we must take full responsibility. I want to say the following. The issue around the Concord and the courts, RAF has now 3 negative judgments against it on the issue of the accounting standards. And I have been very clear with the board that they are to desist from further court action, and it remains the solid position of the ministry that the Accounting Standards Board must be engaged to complete its process on the identification of an applicable and appropriate accounting standard, because that work is underway. And I will not be swayed on that, because I do not believe that it's for the court to prescribe a standard. The AG has made a finding on the accounting standards, and ours is to develop an audit action plan in response to that finding, and it is around the accounting standards. The applicable body has not completed its work, and therefore I do not believe that going to court gives us that appropriate standard when there's a work in progress. Whether it's slow or fast, that is the question you now need to grapple with the ASB, to say they need to complete this in earnest in order to ensure that RAF gets the applicable standard. The board is aware of this position, that they are to desist from further court action, and that position has not changed, and that position will not change. It is my expectation that they must comply. Now, Chair, there's been a proposal that, and I would want to go to the chairperson, acting chair of the board. I just want to say, for the record, that the information I have was that when this meeting was communicated, and that is why I deferred to the secretariat of the board, was that, as I indicated earlier on in the apologies section, I was advised that the chairperson, due to prior commitments, which are made to understand the personal commitments of a family nature, this meeting at this time coincided with that. But that's why I said we are to clear up communication and create coherence insofar as how they communicate with the committee. So I would want, Chair, that this matter be put to the chairperson of the board about this meeting, so that she can clarify and explain her position. Second to last, Chair, from my side, is this. I would want to believe that the board will put in writing the series of events of all these issues and the factors and contributing issues therein, to explain to the committee what happened. When you call us, Chair, we will be available, and the board will be present as the accounting authority of the entity, to subject itself to your processes that you will dictate in that broader discussion which I hear colleagues to be proposing. Having said that, Chair, it's Horatio in Hamlet who speaks to all is rotten in the state of Denmark. And all is not well in RAF on a number of fronts. And it is precisely why I have scheduled a comprehensive board meeting for the 10th to engage with the entity on the issues all at hand. I've already advised the board that we will be reintroducing the Road Accident Fund Benefit Scheme Bill and not proceeding with the Road Accident Fund Amendment Bill as part of the broader legislative reforms which are required at RAF in order to push back on all the challenges that are there. The issues at RAF are vast. The issues of the court roles that colleagues point to, we will brief you of the interventions that I have led and continue to lead with the Deputy Minister of Justice and the pending engagements we are to have with the judiciary on ensuring coherence in the RAF ecosystem when it comes to court cases. So there is work that is ongoing precisely because things are not right at RAF. And I conclude, Chair, by saying that I'm exploring the necessary options and legal instruments available for as part of the considerations of introducing ministerial intervention into the Road Accident Fund or a ministerial advisory process on the current issues and the previous issues, including but not limited to the governance challenges currently at play, and for us to be properly explained the due processes that have been followed insofar as recent decisions have taken place. So I would want to believe that the committee and us are on the same page about the need for intervention, and I'm considering that and will be consulting further with the minister to make sure that we look at all the matters in their entirety so that we can deal with the issues. So that's where I would want to leave it, Chair, to say that all is not well. I'm very much alive to that. And I want to assure the committee that in due course you will begin to see that some of the issues that you have been informed about and explained to, what we have said and the responses that we have been given. I would want, Chair, maybe to suggest that in order for us not to speak at cross purposes, for the PCOT to engage SCOPA on a joint process to us to engage with us on these matters, because it's my sense that SCOPA has information, PCOT has information, but you also don't have some of the information they have and vice versa, so that we can be at some sort of convergence. But Chair, on the 10th, I've got the board meeting and we will proceed to ensure that the necessary ministerial interventions are rolled out. Thank you, Chair. May I now hand over to the Deputy Chairperson of the board.
Thank you very much, DM. Deputy Chair, your time, you can come in. We're just to say, without prejudicing you, we are really running out of time. I would request you just to go straight to specific questions that have been answered without prejudicing you, Deputy Chair. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Chair, and thank you, Honorable Minister, Deputy Minister. I do want to put it on record that the chairperson, the apology is actually correct. The nature of the apology is that it is personal and it's a family crisis matter, and that's why she couldn't come this morning. So I just want that to be put on record. That's the first thing. Then the next thing is I do want to respond to a few things by way of the sequence of events so that we then come to an understanding why the decision of the special leave was made. I'll start by saying on the 13th of May, we received a letter from SCOPA.
No, Chair, Chair, my apologies.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm referring to the chair of the portfolio.
Hold on,
Chair,
hold on, Blossom, hold on. Honorable Blossom, can we? I want to protect the speaker on the platform. I understand. Yeah. You may be agitated. Wait, Honorable Blossom. I'm going to afford you an opportunity, but I want to put it that you don't repeat that. When the speaker is on the platform, you just request the chair if there is a point that you want to come in. But don't interject the speaker because it will be difficult to get information from them if you are to do that. You can come in on the point you want to raise.
Yes, no, Chair, I did call on you. I said, Chair, I think because both of you are chairs, there was a misinterpretation. I was saying, Chair, that because of time, I don't think the acting chair should ventilate the issues of the special leave because we already know it was illegal. So we don't need to know the reasons of it. She mustn't even go there. It's already said the thing is illegal. They've also suspended that decision. So to tell us why they put him on special leave does not assist us. She must just go to the issues and answer our question. That's what I was raising, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable. Let's do it this way. Let's do it this way, colleagues. We shouldn't lose the direction of the meeting. Acting Chair, because we are running out of time and there is already a suggestion that we're going to have a broader discussion. And I understand the predicament you'll then find yourself in if certain questions that you have to answer need the background. But answer specific direct questions without going to the background that would have given when you started, so that we then exit and then we'll then prepare for a broader forum. But there are specific direct questions that have been asked that we may have to answer directly without giving a background.
Thanks, Chair. The first question was that was the board also not going to SCOPA? Because we had taken a decision that the CEO had informed the board that he's not going to attend SCOPA based on what his legal team had told him. And the board had also taken the same decision. The chairperson of the board did write a letter to SCOPA to explain that we wouldn't necessarily be attending because the SIU had ventilated matters where we were not given the right to respond, both as the management team and also as the board. So that's what happened. Subsequent to that, then we received a response from the chairman of SCOPA to say his main intention of wanting us to come to board was the fact that there are matters that he had sent a letter on the 13th of May that he wanted us to talk to. And he then also confirmed that matters of the SIU would not be ventilated on that particular, on the day when we come, which was on the 28th. So that decision was communicated both to the company secretary and to the CEO and the management team. Now, because of that, they were then expected to submit a report by a certain timeline of the day so that SCOPA has our full report. That sort of happened, but then the reality of the matter is the quality of the report that we received was not right. And also there was an issue. And then on the 27th specifically of May, now that everybody was now aware of the fact that we've now changed our position, we are going to SCOPA and we need to present the matters that were on the agenda of the letter of the 13th of May. We were expecting everybody to then comply, prepare a good quality report, and number two, to confirm that we are all going to SCOPA because now the position has been clarified in terms of what must be done. Chair, I'm not sure who's speaking.
No Mondays iPad.
Yes, Chair, it's me. It's me who's talking. Okay. But somebody, there's a crossover voice that sort of came in.
Yeah, Honorable Maduna, you just joined and there's chaos here. What's happening? You can proceed.
It's not from me, Chair.
Yeah, I'm acknowledging that you just joined, but there is chaos. You can go on and move towards wrapping up. We must be done by 20 past now.
Thank you, Chair. So to an extent that everybody was made aware of the fact that we were going to SCOPA. On the 27th, there was then the emergency meeting, which was called in. And that emergency meeting, that's where this issue of special leave was ventilated. And the real issue is that the CEO was still adamant he's not going to SCOPA. I mean, that was clearly articulated, and he wouldn't necessarily encourage his team to go to SCOPA because of so that we saw as defiance of the CEO, and hence that special leave was basically put there. But now subsequent events have happened. So I do want to mention that ultimately when he went to SCOPA, I want to put it on record. It was not authorized leave. there was an assertion that we are lying. We are not lying. The CEO was informed on the 27th that we have appointed an acting CEO who will then go to Parliament, to an extent that there's a process in how we travel. The chairperson of the board signs the CEO's travel matter to say we are authorized to travel. He did not even have that signed travel document to say that he's authorized to travel, because our understanding was that on the 27th, it was made clear he's not coming to Parliament because he was taking instructions from his lawyer and not necessarily from us. And that we saw as defiance and insubordination. So I just wanted to cover that part because it seems like we have not given the reasons why we've done the special leave. Then I move next to the next item. There was an issue around the legal opinion that we took around the reappointment of the CEO. We did take that legal input, and the reality of the matter was that it was really up to us, as there was a recommendation that came from the ministry how the process must unfold, and there was also a legal opinion that says, we need to follow our own policy and not act outside that. But also within those powers, there was nothing stopping the board from considering a reappointment of the CEO. And I think then we then deliberated on the matter. We then decided, let's rather see if we can exercise our right to reappoint the CEO. And that is the process that we've been embarking on. And to an extent that we needed to do a 360 evaluation around the reappointment, we must give reasons why we want to reappoint him. And we must also do a 360 evaluation, including internal and external stakeholders, to assess, what is the posture of the CEO around stakeholders, both internally and that has been done. Where we are, we have not finalized the presentation of the 360 in terms of the final recommendation that must go, that the board was considering reappointing the CEO. So that's just one item that was asked in terms of the legal opinion that we got. Then the next issue, it's true that we have a few items that we needed to regularize. I think what is important is that if the leave policy does not provide for a special leave, we need to take legal advice. We can't then say we want it at all costs. We did take legal advice, and the legal advice gave us sound recommendation. You can't put it on special leave because the policies of the company don't provide for that. However, the contract of the CEO provides for you to put him on special leave under clause 20, and you then have to then allow yourself to understand why are you suspending and give substantive reasons why you're doing that. So we don't necessarily see anything wrong in regularizing the decision. And that came from the board. It's not from any pressure, be it ministry or anything. It came straight from the board once we had taken legal advice on the matter. So I just wanted to put that also on record. The next item, Chair, the issue around leadership and the issue that we might be not, we are sort of making RAF to be unstable. Chair, I won't directly respond to that. I think the meeting that is being proposed for the 7th with us face-to-face will probably talk to those items so that we can then share our views why we think there's leadership stability and leadership instability issues. I think if we have a lot of acting positions, it talks to issues around leadership instability, but we will talk to specifics around leadership stability and matters that talk to, are we bringing RAF down, or are we sort of wanting to close RAF and we're not necessarily acting in the best interest of RAF. So I think with our face-to-face meeting, we can ventilate those matters even further. The issue of changing decisions, I do want to mention, I think we all have a right to take legal advice, and that's why we've then revisited the issue of making sure that the decision that we take is legally sound. We have not necessarily done it, taking it lightly. The reality of the matter, on the 27th, the board was defied, and we felt there was an insubordination of the matter to an extent that the CEO was informed not to travel, and he still traveled. That is still insubordination. It doesn't change anything. Let me just check. We have no control over the media show, unfortunately, as a board. So I just wanted to mention that we honestly don't have specific control over that matter. The issue of claimants, I do want to mention, we are equally concerned as a board. If the CEO takes 2.5 years to appoint a claims officer, and then basically he is a claim officer, it is an issue that brings in issues around how are we paying claimants on time? Why are we doing what we are doing? Hence, one of the recommendations that we need to get an acting claims officer so that the CEO is not a player and a referee. It is unheard of in a business where claims is the basic bread and butter of the business, that we have a CEO who also manages those. So I think it's an area of concern. Sorry,
If
Chair.
you can move towards it close.
Yeah, Chair, I think I'll just say the gap I see is that we made a decision and then the company secretary did not forward the formal apology of the chairperson last night. I do want us to correct that.
No, the matter is
Thank you.
that one is ventilated, Chair. I think
Okay.
let's leave
All right.
that one.
Okay, thank you, Chair.
Yes.
I think that's it. I'll leave it there.
Thanks very much. Yeah, thanks very much. I think the other stakeholders are already waiting for us in another meeting. I think DM.
Bob.
Yeah, I think we must conclude at this point because then emerges a lot of questions that we may not be able to ventilate in this question. Therefore, the idea that we may have to have a solid meeting to engage broadly then suffice. It suffices. There are a lot of things that as the chair was also answering, it raises more questions than answers. For instance, if you did not have a legal office, claimants officer for more than 2 years, and all of a sudden there is a Damascus moment that it becomes an issue when you never saw it, is concerning for us that it would seem there was a period of lull in the process. But nonetheless, I think let's conclude by saying thanks for the briefing and for leading the team DM. The challenges that had been there, they are noted, they are at hand, we are fine. What we'll do is that our team will communicate with yourselves on when can we meet and the nature and the structure of the meeting. I have noted that there is also a request that perhaps we may have a joint session. But I would want us to first be abreast, because the problem we have is that the SCOPA seems to be having more information than we have as a solid accounting oversight line. And it's also a cause for concern for me as a chair, but I think it's also a cause for concern for members. We may, of course, at a particular time desire to have a joint session where we should be able to exchange notes. We appreciate the fact that and having been a member of parliament, you understand the structural importance of people appearing before the committee, because we don't take in easy light also people who refuse, not only before us, but any committee of parliament who refuse to appear before any committee of parliament. That I think we are on the same page, and that we appreciate. We will obviously expect you. There is also a suggestion that we may have to also interact with the CEO. It's a matter that we'll discuss as the committee, the ins and outs of it, the nitty-gritties around it, and then we'll then be able to take it from there. To this point, let's appreciate the fact that you came in on short notice. You presented to the extent that you did. At least at this point, if we are to ask a question, what's happening, we should then be able to answer to the extent we can. And at least we are abreast and briefed with issues. Let's close it at this point. We'll communicate in a short while after consulting with our program and after I would have consulted with my team, which date would be feasible. I know it must be as soon as it can be possible, but that soon is also subject to other developments within the program of parliament. So I'll still have to engage with the House Chair, engage with the members, and follow all the logistics to reconvene that particular meeting. And our plea is that when we meet on that occasion, please avail as much information as possible so that we're able to move from the same wavelength. You would have heard today, we're not moving from the same wavelength. Members have a particular perception about the entity, you have a particular understanding, and the board has its own understanding. So unless we provide all the full information on the table, we'll continue to move in different directions. If you have anything to say as a parting shot briefly.
No, Chairperson, thank you very much to you and the members. I think that we are in Parliament's hands. I just do want to draw the attention of the committee that there's the meeting that has been scheduled for the 10th of June with the board extensively on all issues. If you could factor that into your planning, that would be appreciated, but we will avail ourselves at your discretion and determination, Chairperson. And thanks to the members for all the comments and the issues that they've raised. The board and the entity will return when called upon to do so to answer. We will make sure of that. Thank you.
Now, Chair, thanks very much. Before you part, maybe through you to ask the acting chair, because we are discussing now the suspension, which you said was taken last night, is the subject informed of the decision?
If I can come in?
Yes.
Yeah, the letter was prepared and it was sent to him so that he doesn't hear it through this media. I think we were quite courteous of the fact that it's not correct to hear of your suspension through the media. So we've actually sent the letter. Yes, thank you.
Okay, yeah, I was worried that then it will be that he had through our portfolio that is suspended. You know, these things of law are complicated. But nonetheless, if that's the point, I just wanted that to be cleared. Thanks very much, DM and the team. Colleagues, compañeros, the other connection, I'm told we are not using the same details. Who's calling, Chair?
You know, Kekale, before you call the people to close, I know that we are under pressure, but it's fine. I just wanted to request, Chair, that you said they must give us information. I think that it's also important that we get the legal opinions as well as the recordings of the meetings. And then finally, Chair, agreeing with what all you've said, the Deputy Chair said to us that they corrected what the lawyer said. I respect that. Did also, I think when they give us information, they'll also advise us whether the legal advisor told them that when you suspend someone in terms of the law, you don't give them notice asking them that, look, we're giving you 3 days or 7 days and show cause why you shouldn't be suspended. Was that done? So that's part of the issue. It's not about announcement. So, Chair, I second that. Close the meeting, but I think that it's very important that we ask those questions.
Honorable Montan. Honorable Montan. You don't speak and elaborate unrecognized. But let me just close the meeting so that we get into another one. Who was saying, Chairperson?
It's Chair, my apologies. I'm hearing that there's a long list of issues that are being raised. May I ask that the committee secretariat send all the issues that members want in writing so that we are very clear? We have our notes, but if the committee could furnish us, because there's additional matters that, for example, Honorable Montana is raising now for the purposes of preparation. Thanks, Chair.
What we'll do, be assured, Honorable Tengwa, that whatever we want to request, we'll request. I just said, Honorable Montana listing other things, we'll take it as a committee outside, but whatever we feel that we need from you, we'll do that in writing. Be assured, just to supplement your notes.
Thank you, Chair.
Thanks very much. Thank you very much. Thanks very much. You are covered, Honorable Montana, after intruding, right? With that note, honorable members, this meeting is officially closed. Let's immediately connect to the other session.